Eastern Canada, one of the best hockey songs out there, originally by Stompin' Tom Connors and made over many times, many cover versions, the good old hockey game. Welcome into the Black Aces podcast, episode number 9. I can't believe we've been at this on Twitch for 9 weeks already. The NHL has been playing for, I think, 8 of those weeks. I think we started a week early. Welcome into the Black Aces podcast. Before I bring the panel in, because we are being given the gift, we are being sponsored with a free copy of FHM 10 over the next couple weeks. And Boiled Egg says he's got FHM 10 open right now. He said he can't get in the baseball frame of mind. He's too busy playing the hockey game. Good for you. There you go. There is a link to the website where you can get your own copy of either Out of the Park Baseball or FHM. Tonight, we are giving away a Fast Spring copy. So if you do happen to win the copy tonight, you need to go to the Out of the Park Developments Forum. You'll go down to the Franchise Hockey Manager section. You go into the general discussion and you click on the very first sticky there and you download the game for PC or Mac. And then you use the code that I give you, and that will give you access to the entire game. You download it first, and then you throw the code in. So this will not work on Steam. This is just a PC or a Mac version, like, the olden days when you had to download or install games with a CD-ROM. So that is coming up a little bit later, your chance to win a copy of Franchise Hockey Manager. Again, great game. And because they are kind of sponsoring us, how can we not show you one more time what this game has to offer from Out of the Park Developments?
Celebrating 10 years with our fans. Franchise Hockey Manager 10, officially licensed by the NHL. Welcome to the next generation of FHM. Play the game your way. Custom games now allow you to import real teams or entire leagues from anywhere in the world or from our historical game. And you can now set up promotion and relegation systems for your custom leagues. Gain more control with our reworked trade system, including new team needs and player shopping systems. Beware the media. Manage media relations that can affect your team's happiness and the opinions of your fans and owner. Bring more hockey history to life by traveling all the way back to 1909 and the newly playable National Hockey Association, complete with 7-man hockey. College hockey has expanded. American college teams now have to contend with the transfer portal, and the Canadian college teams are now playable. Updated for the 2023-2024 season for every NHL club, as well as international, minor, college, and junior leagues. Get to know the players better with prospect tournaments, youth tournaments, and new scouting options. And so much more. Franchise Hockey Manager 10, celebrating 10 years of hockey strategy with our fans. All on the only NHL licensed PC game. Releasing November 7th, 2023.
All right, there you have it. Franchise Hockey Manager 10. Again, Boiled Egg, Don't Cut the D-Block Dragon have played it already. They've given it good reviews. D-Block Dragon worked on a tutorial with me the other day. So yeah, go grab a copy from the Out of the Park Development site, or stay tuned to win a copy a little bit later on. I will open up the contest after our first commercial break in about 25 minutes time. Let's bring the panel in from Edmonton, Alberta. He loves the Oilers and no one else but the Oilers. Mr. Finn is in the house. a Toronto Maple Leaf, but a Canadian hockey fan through and through, Mr. Old Man Fred, and from Eastern Canada, Montreal, fan of the Habitant. We've got a lanky Frank in the house. So, guys, you ready? You ready to talk some hockey?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Before we do that,
lots of stuff going on. So
yeah, lots of stuff going on. And again, each of the panel will have kind of a topic they're going to cover. But as I said, we gotta thank, especially since we've given out a couple copies already, and we have a few more copies over the next few weeks to give out. We got to show off just a little bit. This isn't even the main part of the game. This is a side part. That's something that you can do. And I can't zoom in on it. It doesn't allow me to expand it. So you're going to have to squint your eyes a little bit. But we're going to have a four-way playoff here between the four of us. They don't know I'm doing this, but they don't have to do much. They just have to give me some information. So first round, we're going to have Lanky Frank go up against Old Man Fred. Lanky Frank, I want you to give me a year of the Montreal Canadiens. Any year. Give me a year for the Canadiens.
1956.
Jesus.
1956 Canadians. Okay, so Frank was
Come on, the Rocket. Come on.
Frank was born a little around that time. All right, Old Man Fred, you're taking on Lanky Frank. Give me a Maple Leaf team.
He doesn't have a good year, so you should switch teams.
Let's go 63.
1963 Toronto Maple Leafs.
You must be good back then. You won all your cups before 67, so you might have hit a good year.
Frank's got the up and down.
Look at the trash talk already. All right, on the Montreal Canadiens, Frank will remember this because he was in grade 12 at the time. We have Frank Mahovlich with Dave Keon and George Armstrong. We got Bob or Bill Pulford. I don't know which one that is.
Bob.
We got Stewart and Nevin. This is the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've got Eddie Shack.
Yeah, I was going to say these are not the Habs.
Yeah, playing with Boyer and Papin. Did you guys ever have a lunch kit with Eddie Shack on it? No, remember those lunch kits taken
Number
to school?
23, clear the track for Eddie Shack, of course.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that lunch kit. Eddie Shack was a legend. And then we got Dick Duff, Jarrett, and McMillan on defense for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've got a guy named Stanley and a guy you might be familiar with if you're in Canada. Tim Horton was defense in 1963. Carl Brewer, Bond, you got Kelly, Hillman, and then in net, we got Johnny Bauer. And I think that's where Old Man Fred was going. He wanted to see Johnny Bauer in action. They're going up against
Who do I have? Is that before Jacques Plante? I might have Gump or something.
You've got your top line is it Dickie Moore?
Yeah, Moore.
Dickie Moore, Jean Beliveau. Boom Boom. We got Olmsted, Henri Richard, and Maurice Richard is the second line right winger.
Oh, wow. 514, 15, 18 goals on the second line. I think I'm going to do well here.
You got Marshall, Goyette, and Provost. And then Pronovost, Leclerc, and how do you pronounce it? Achimichik?
Whatever. He's a goon.
On defense, you've got the great Doug Harvey. You got T. Johnson, D. St. Laurent, L. Macron, B. Turner, and J. Talbot. So not much of a bottom defensive core. And then in net, you got J. McNeil and Jacques Plante.
There you go. I do have Jacques Plante. All right, cool.
All right. So we're going to quick sim a 3-game tournament between these two teams and see who the winner is that's going to go to the final. All right, sim the games. That's something you can do on this is you can pick any teams from history. And Frank, game 1 was 2-1 for the Maple Leafs.
Boom.
Alan Stanley and Bob Nevin score for the Leafs. And the only goal for the Canadiens was Maurice Richard, who took a penalty in the third period late in the game. What a goon.
What a goon.
Game 2, 4-1 Maple Leafs.
Whoa!
Mahavlich, on Stanley and McMillan. The only goal for the Montreal Canadiens was Floyd Curry.
Start the parade. Start the parade.
And game number 3 was a shutout
Oh!
for a shutout. Who was your goalie in game 3? It was actually Johnny Bauer.
Johnny Bauer.
13 saves. And the only goal was Carl Brewer in the third period
He's bald.
for the victory.
Oh, the Maple Leafs, the kings of sim and regular season.
They'll take it, Frank.
Way to go.
They'll take it.
Way to go. You're claim to fame.
Nothing else. No, quite all.
Semi-final number 2. Finn, give me a team and a year.
The 2006 Edmonton Oilers.
Oh my God. Number 8. Number 8.
He's so original. He thinks white is an awesome color.
All right. I'm going to go with the 1979 Boston Bruins.
Oh, it won't even be close.
Boston 1979. Okay. So if you remember 2006, we have
based on the first sim, Boston's going to win their old man Fred because it's complete horseshit.
So.
I had a second line with both Richards, and I scored 2 goals in the 3 games. That's complete horseshit.
Bad management. All right.
Yeah.
Ryan Smith, Horkoff, Sikora, Moreau, Stoll, Hemsky, Torres, Riesener, Lupul, Nielsen, Peterson, Pisani, and on defense, Smead, Jason Smith, Tarnquist, Steve Staios, Young, and Green. And your goalie.
Oh, we should have Pronger in there. Can you put Pronger in there?
No, he wasn't on that team.
No,
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. He was.
They don't have. Where is Pronger here? Pronger, is he on the list here? Sikora, we have Jeffrey Lupul, Rob Shrimp.
Yeah.
Pronger? No, I don't know. Maybe Pronger said you don't have the rights to use my name in the game. I don't know.
Is he somewhere in the game?
Do you know why Pronger isn't on here, Boiled Egg? That is a key name
That's
missing
a
from
huge
this.
name. Yeah, that's a good catch.
And for the Boston Bruins, we've got Cashman, McNabb, and Middleton, Secord, Miller, and O'Reilly, Stan Jonathan, Jean Rattel, and Foster, and then John Wensick, Craig McTavish,
Ooh.
and Don Marcotte. Brad Park, Ray Bork in his rookie year, Redmond, Doak, Milbury, and Nicholson. And in net, Jerry Cheevers and Greg Gilbert.
Oh.
All right. So, not sure why Pronger is not on the team here. 2006.
Oilers have no chance now. The Oilers just lost their number 1 defenseman.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think this is because it imports at the end of the previous season, and this is before they got Mike Pekka and Pronger.
Yeah, I didn't see Pekka either. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So this is before those guys were brought in. It always starts at the end of the. Yeah, should have went 2000. Well, we can quickly change that. We can go back. Let's
go back and give him the 2007.
There's no Rollison on the team either.
Yeah, no Rollison. Yeah.
So let's go 2007 against the Boston Bruins. Let's try that. Let's go to the Oilers. No, you don't get Chris Muller. Sorry.
Well, I have Surrey. I'll take Surrey.
Okay. And you do have Dwayne Rollison.
You're allowed to change complete vintages, if you want to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's sim this out, see how it goes. 3 games, Boston versus the Oilers. Here are the results. Game 1 goes to the Boston Bruins, 3-2 or 2-1.
Cal Breeze.
Sam gone. Oh no.
Foster and Miller for Boston, and Matt Green.
Matt Green. I don't think he's scored an NHL in his career.
Matt Green gets the goal. Game 2 is 2-0 Bruins. We've got Dick Redmond and Wayne Cashman scoring, and the shutout goes to Mr. Jerry Cheevers. No, Greg Gilbert. Again, they didn't need their starter goalie against Edmonton. I mean, who does, really?
Well,
And Game 3 was a 2-0 victory for the Bruins. It was Peter McNabb and Al Secord with third period goals, and Gilbert with back-to-back shutouts. All right. Here we go. Final between the Toronto Maple Leafs from 1963 and the Boston Bruins from 1979. Chat, who takes this? Who do you think, chat? Is this going to go to Toronto or to Boston in a 3-game series?
Boston's going to have a too many men penalty. It's going to ruin it.
Hey,
for him.
hey.
So
1962.
Oh, boy, too soon? Too soon?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Toronto.
You're going to go Toronto?
Oh yeah.
Gordon's going to score.
All right. 3-game series. You know what? It's the finals. We're going best of 5. 5-game series.
Ooh.
The Sims are in. And Boston wins. First game goes to Toronto 3-0.
Who
Bob
scored?
Pulford, Jim Pappin, Frank Mahovlich,
Frankie.
and for Boston, it's Wayne Cash. No, it's Mike. Who scored for Boston here? Oh, it's 3-0. They didn't get anything. Johnny Bauer with the shutout.
Yeah.
Game 2 is a 5-2 game. I don't know who Stan Smirk is, but he got a penalty. Redmond, McNabb, Jonathan, Bork, and Cashman. And for the Leafs, Stanley and Mahovlich. 5-1 Boston.
Oh,
The only goal is Gary Dineen for the Maple Leafs. Bork, O'Reilly, McNabb with 2, and Graham Nicholson. And then in the last game, sorry, Leaf fans, it is 5-0. Jean Rattel, Doak Cashman, Craig McTavish, and Stan Jonathan. Shout out for Greg Gilbert. So there you have it. One of the fun things you can do, you can play any team from earliest year you can play is 1917. Back then there were 6 teams in the league. The Wanderers, the Canadians, the Senators, the Metropolitans, and this one's for you, Frank. You know your hockey. Where were the Rosebuds from?
Portland.
1917.
Hold on.
Rosebuds. They were from
Hold on.
Portland. The Portland Rosebuds back in 1917.
Wow. That's pretty
Yeah.
wild when you think about the geography of that, right? It must be
Yeah.
Portland, unless it's Portland, Maine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would think because
Oh, maybe, yeah. It could be Portland,
it doesn't
Maine.
make sense that it's out west like that.
Yeah, it could be Oregon.
But I would never have guessed that.
And they only had,
But remember, Seattle had a team pre-1917.
Oh, well, there you go.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it might be Portland on the other side. Anyways,
could be. So yeah, they've only got like 13 guys in the lineup here too, and none of them that we probably ever know the names for it. So there you go, a little bit of franchise hockey manager. Again, only some of the features that you can use in the game. You can also play the games out and watch them going back and forth and see all the stats. You know, the players come out on the ice. And again, this is not your console game, your EA Sports, your Madden football. very basic, but it's meant to be a statistical kind of game rather than a flash arcadey type of game. They face off and they go back and forth, and they show the results at the bottom of the screen when there's a goal, when there's a penalty, and you can play again in the 2023 season or way back in 1909. All right. There you go. A little bit of Franchise Hockey Manager. Again, we'll have the entry form open for that after our first break. Well, as we always like to do each week, we like to go through and look at some logos. And this week, we're going to look at the Detroit Red Wings logo. Detroit Red Wings logo was adopted, the current one, adopted in 1932 when millionaire James Norris decided to invest in the team, and they chose a new name, the Detroit Red Wings, with the logo of the wheel, the winged wheel. And the winged wheel was actually a logo that Norris had played with the Montreal Amateur Athletic Association. So he kind of copied the idea from a team he played there. All right, here are some of the logos from the past, panel. Take a good look. We'll ask you for your favorites in a minute.
Ew.
All right, so there's the first few years, and here is kind of a close-up of the ones you're going to get to choose from here. We'll start with Lanky Frank this time. Which one you going with?
It's an easy call. It's the one right now. So
The present one?
yeah. Why mess
And
with
chat, put your choices into which Detroit one are you going with? Now, Finn, I remember when the alternate jerseys came out last year.
Yeah.
I believe it was you that said Detroit was one of your top 3 alternate jerseys, and I think it had this D on it, didn't it?
No, I just said Detroit across, just kind of
Or
in
was it just
bulk
the word
letters
Detroit?
with the black jersey.
All right, so which one you going with, Finn?
I have to go with the present one. I mean, I like the other two before that, but the present one is nice, it's refined.
Okay. And Old Man Fred, is it unanimous?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, it's a pretty classic logo again, right? It's original 6. It's funny. I'm just looking at the 1926. It looks like the Tigers. Reminds me of that with the old font. But yeah, although I'm leaning. I like that 32-33, the angel wings kind of thing. I like that too. But I'll make it unanimous. Yeah, let's go with the present for sure.
So almost 100 years, and the logo, hasn't changed too much in the last 80 years or so. It's relatively stayed the same. And D Block Dragon says, how original, stealing the D from the Tigers. So you're not the only one that noticed that, Old Man Fred. Boiled Egg says 49 to the present. That's what Lanky Frank and Finn said. Yeah, I'd have to go with that one too. I mean, again, it's been around for 70 years already. We're used to it. Although I kind of like their Winter Classic jerseys with just the Detroit. I know it's not a logo, but it's a different look to it. All right, Detroit is in the books. Next week we look at Edmonton. Finn, we'll look at the Edmonton logos. Let's look at the games from tonight.
Oh, I don't want to look at the games from tonight.
What do you think, Finn? Give us a quick recap of tonight's game. You probably watched most of it. What went wrong?
All of it. We're struggling to find our defensive game, really. And then you have a guy like Bouchard, and I'm not saying he's the only problem, but he kind of symbolizes the issues with bad decisions, pinching at the wrong time. The term around town here is once he gets on the blue line back to his own goalie, the controller disconnects and he just kind of coasts on in and hope he kind of catches somebody at the right time. But just unwillingness to commit to defense, something that you heard that they were going to commit to all off season long, and it's just not happening.
Yeah. All right. We look at the stats quickly. And, Frank, I remember last year we talked about Boston and you had said you couldn't believe how well they did, like setting records and all that. And look at them this year, 1 loss in regulation. What is Boston doing? How are they managing this?
They play as one. It's the culture, something that Toronto is trying to achieve. The Oilers are trying to achieve. Every team is trying to achieve what Boston has done. And if we look back to an event that happened last year, is when they signed the Miller kid. So they signed this guy, and the players revolt. And the management backtracked, and they released the guy. That's the Miller. He's the draft pick from Phoenix that has issues. And the leadership group said, he doesn't fit our culture. We will not accept him. No effing way in hell. Oh, yeah, am I right to swear here? No fucking way in hell he's ever going to be welcomed in this room. And that's the Boston way,
Yeah.
So I think that's cemented, like, as they play as one. Yeah, Leo, that's an easy thing to say right now, but that's not hockey. It's like he didn't beat his wife in the past and then they signed him. So try to be relevant. So that cemented what they accomplished last year. Then they lose Bergeron and Krejci, and we all had them pegged to go down in points. I had them at 95, so about 13 games above 500. They're 12 games above 500 now. So they basically have to play 500 the rest of the way to achieve mine. So what they're doing is they're really like, the goalies did not take a step back. They were, they'll regress. They're not regressing. The D's still there intact. And the offense, I think we have to put Pasternak in the elite categories of players in the league. And he's really stepped up. Yeah, he scored 50 goals, but he's really put the offense on his shoulders. And yeah, my hat's off to them. No way I thought they would be the best team in the league at this point. We're almost a quarter of the season. They're 4 games away. Vegas is 2 games away, or 3 or 1. So yeah, but I think it's all the culture thing. So Lucic, he's never going to play for Boston again. So he's on an indefinite leave of absence, but he didn't have any of those problems beforehand, which is the point of the culture. Anybody can act stupid after they get signed. But so that's what I think. It really, really is a culture thing. And it is what all other teams achieve to do. And you just look at Toronto. Look at power play 1 versus power play 2. Power play 1 will stay on the ice for 1:45. They'll come off the ice and leave 15 seconds for the jackasses on power play 2. And they do it on purpose. And the guys on power play 2, they notice and they get pissed off. So they don't play as one. They're selfish. They've always been. They always will be. And just the way each power play unit treats each other is a big sign of how cemented a room is. And when you stay on the ice, when you drag on your shifts and all that, it shows a disrespect for your teammates. And go look at the statistics of each power play in Toronto, and you'll see that power play 1, they stretch out their presence on the ice.
I want to touch on that a little bit, bring it back to the Oilers and with the new coach. and a bunch of eye rolling with the new coach here. But he's given the bottom six of the Oilers purpose, and the power play is getting off the ice at a minute 15. And even in his tenure here of the last 4 games, the second power play unit has scored a couple of goals here at the Oilers. So he's given the bottom six purpose. In the 2 games that he won, the bottom six was more or less carrying the team to victory. Although, I mean, the first game, the dynamic duo came in and stole the show a little bit, but there's still, the hat trick from Ryan and Derek Ryan and even the bottom or the second power play unit scoring a couple goals. This new guy, Novla, he's doing something the last 4 coaches for the Oilers has never done, and that's give the bottom part of the lineup purpose.
Exactly, and you don't win championship without a bottom 6. I remember the Habs with Skrudlin, like Brian Skrudlin. He was a 3rd, 4th center, and he's scoring in overtime. John Leclerc, 17 goals in the regular season, scoring in overtime. Claude Lemieux. It's like you have to win with the bottom 6. And if your top players are selfish and never think about the bottom 6, the bottom 6, they get to the playoffs and say, good luck.
Yeah. I remember the Anaheim Mighty Ducks when they won the Stanley Cup over Ottawa. They were a team because their 3rd line and 4th line, I think Sammy Polson was part of that 3rd line. They played just as much as the top line guys pretty much. And, they were up against the number 1 line on the other team. And it wasn't just the top 6 that got all the minutes. So every once in a while, you do get those teams that are a team and have the culture. The Mighty Ducks in 2010, I think it was, 2008 maybe, they were one of those teams that just played extremely well together. Old man Fred, anything to add to that?
No, I think I 100% agree with Frank. I think, and I think he's bang on with the Leaf stuff too, right? It doesn't take long before you know you're just not very important, and that's part of the problem with Toronto's culture. And I think he makes an excellent point. Will that translate into championships? Hasn't yet. So we'll see. But I agree that as a team you need everyone. And I think back to the Dallas Stars team, Ken Hitchcock times. Same thing. Their 3rd and 4th lines were strong. They
brought in Guy Carbonneau from Montreal.
Absolutely.
That was to play bottom 6,
Yeah, for sure. And he was, Carbonneau was, because he was captain of the Habs for a long time, So yeah, it's, I think it's an excellent point, and I think it gets overlooked at times, right? And I think to a certain extent, the Oilers are suffering from it right now. And your 2 guys aren't producing, and you're 3rd worst in the NHL, and that wasn't helped tonight either. So
I think McDavid entered this game at 95th in the league in scoring.
And the power play is candy. It's like a reward. Like when you give candy to your kid, that's what power play time is for players. And there's top 6 players in that second power play, and when they sit on the mat and with 15 seconds, they can't get organized. So it's basically a 15 seconds of twirling around, waiting for the penalty to be over. And they get back to the bench, and they're pissed every time that happens because they go, and their stats is they were 0 for 1, but with 15 seconds. And players remember that stuff. And it's like when it's time to go to war for your top-end players, they don't go 110%, let's just say. They remember.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're up on our first break here. We'll be back in 2 minutes' time, and then we'll open up the contest for those of you that want a chance to win the FHM 10. Back in 2 minutes, and the panel are going to go through and come up with their topic for the week and discuss some of the things they've been seeing in the NHL last week. See you guys back in 2 minutes. All right. We are back, and the contest is now live. If you want a chance to win a copy of FHM 10, put in exclamation ticket or exclamation enter into the chat. Again, this is a Fast Spring copy. It's not a Steam copy. You cannot play it on Steam with the code that you will receive. You need to download the game and then enter in the key once the game is downloaded. So again, exclamation ticket, exclamation enter. You must be here at the end of the show. If I call your name, you have to be here to claim it. So we'll do that in about 20, 25 minutes. All right, we've got our 3 topics of the week. We're going to start with Lanky Frank here. And Lanky Frank, you sent me a little Excel kind of sheet here. I think this is what you want to talk about. So I'll give the floor to you.
Yeah. So this kind of has to do with the Oilers, but it has to do with cap space spending and how some teams take assets and transform them into either zero value assets or in some cases negative assets, as we saw with Patrick Marleau when the Leafs had to trade him with a first round pick. So this is the top 20 defensemen by cap hit in the NHL. And we all saw Erik Karlsson got traded for basically nothing. First round pick and then some hacks that San Jose is putting on the ice. So he's got the biggest cap hit. You got Drew Doughty, then Werenski, McAvoy, but you can see Darnell Nurse is 7th on that list. And I first was going to do 8 million plus, but then I saw, I got to give Nurse a chance not to be last on the list in terms of who if we would rank these guys. So I went with the top 20, and at least Shea Weber's on here, so Darnell Nurse can be ahead of somebody who's retired, basically, because you look at all the other names and just look at it. Who would you rather have on your team? Kel McCarr at $9 million or Darnell Nurse at 9,250? Asking the question is answering the question, and you can see where Karlsson, they got in trouble with giving him a Doughty at his age now is untradeable, so they're stuck with him. Werenski is not going to age well, and this does not include the Dahlin extension, which is starting next year. He'll be at 11 million, tied with Doughty, but he's like 23, 24. So there's some guys like Adam Fox at 9.5 is tradable. Kel McCarr for sure. Sergachev not going too well. He got 70 points last year, but this year Hedman, who's also on the list, took over from him. And Hedman is tradable just because he doesn't have a lot of year left. But you look at Heiskanen at 8.4. All these guys, Quinn Hughes, look at him, Vancouver, 7.85 million. And he's going completely bananas this year. So that's going to age well. But you look at guys that are not going to age well. Yeah, he's leading the league in scoring. And this is where I keep harping on the fact that the Oilers have mismanaged their cap. Is they paid Nurse thinking he would become an offensive threat and a physical, like a Jacob Trouba plus. But what he is a Jacob Trouba 2.1. He's a paler version of Trouba. And that's too bad because you gambled, but you lost, basically, with Darnell Nurse. He's a second pairing guy, but you don't pay second pairing guys, and he's where he's not a bad NHL player. It's just he's not worth 9.25 million, not even close. So I just wanted to bring that up because you can see a bunch of names here. Like, who would you trade for in a limited cap? Don't remember, the cap is 80 some odd million. So anything above 8 million is 10% of your cap. Like, who would you take at their stage? Like, even Dougie Hamilton at 9 million. Why would you trade for this guy? He's not good defensively. Unidimensional defensemen shouldn't be making the big bucks. Like Doughty, at least in his prime, was good in his own end and offense, But like some of these are head scratchers. Seth Jones, he's right above Nurse. At least he has produced points in the past. But that's an untradeable contract. But Chicago's no stress. They're going to hit the floor with that contract. That's why they traded for it. So then they're happy because they go, okay, well, at least we're going to hit the floor. So it's just to put things in perspective, and teams, they give these guys this big contract because they don't want to lose them. But if they become invaluable, if their value goes to zero, trade the guy. Why give them the big money to keep them if they become zero value assets? I don't get it. I don't understand. Teams have to be more cutthroat and saying, is this guy worth it or not? If not, trade him.
Yeah.
Well, contract.
All right. So Finn and Old Man Fred, just a couple minutes to kind of chime in and give your opinion about that. Old Man Fred, I guess, you followed sports, pretty much all your life. And we've seen these albatross contracts in football and baseball. I mean, Bobby Bonilla, they're still paying, I think, for the next 10 years or so. And in NFL, I know they've got non-guaranteed contracts where,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Here's $25 million a year. Oh, you know what? We're not going to guarantee this and see you later kind of thing. What do you think about these defensive contracts and how to deal with them? Old Man Fred.
You're on mute. Oh,
there we go.
I'm not. So, yeah. The host can unmute my mic. Very good. Isn't that nice? Well done, host. Okay. Anyway, just when I see these contracts, the Nurse thing just stands out, and it's awful. Now, a lot of times, what will happen is, like, if you take a look at the Draisaitl contract, it's signed early on, and maybe it's kind of heavy at the beginning, but by the end of the contract, if they're young, it's like, wow, what a good value we got overall. That's not going to be the Nurse case. We know that. So, it's a tough game, and I know Edmonton is an interesting market, and I think we still suffer, and I'm going to say we because even though I'm a Toronto fan, I live in Edmonton. I think we suffer from, just above Winnipeg. Like we're just a little bit, like we're, probably 31st in the league for destinations. And
Columbus is challenging you.
Exactly. Well, yeah, maybe Columbus, yeah, for sure. But at least you can go to some good college games around there. So it's, and I think we've just overpaid, and I think that's what's happened with the Nurse thing. Frank raises an excellent point. You look at those contracts, and I look at those names, and you shudder. Nurse shouldn't be like, when I look there, he should be below Hughes by a lot. Maybe a $6 million is what he's worth, and that seems high right now the way he's playing. So, what can I say? You sign him early. You hope that it's going to be okay. I don't know when all these contracts are coming up. Quinn Hughes is not going to sign for 7 to 8 the next time, but he's producing, right? And
he's signed long term.
Is he long term? Because Darnell Nurse, he's not signing for 9-2. Like, enjoy your time, buddy, because everybody looks at that contract and knows that he's not going to come close to that. So that's my opinion on that. So there you go.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Old Man Fred. And Finn, I know you're an Oiler fan. You're, a Nurse fan. You defend Nurse, and sometimes, you give him a little bit of scrutiny. But I think
I defend Nurse because he's a good player. He's a good player. 31 other NHL teams would like to have him on their roster. It's the cap hit that is less desirable. It's
and that's my point. It turns, and you're right. Everybody would love to have Nurse on their teams, but at 9.25, that list goes to 0.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're comparing Nurse and Makar and all these other guys, I mean, and of course Nurse doesn't have the ceiling as Makar or Hughes when it comes to the offensive production, but Nurse signed 2 bridge contracts, and this $9 million contract is payback for those 2 bridge contracts to get him here. If we were able to sign him at the 8-year contract right out of his ELC, like a Makar and like a Hughes, I don't know if Hughes signed. Yeah, I guess he did sign right out of his ELC. It would have been significantly lower. We probably would have been looking at a $6.5, maybe $7 million contract.
Yeah, PK Subban was the same thing, but you don't have to give him the 9.
No, I understand that.
PK
But
was
it's
done for
also-
a bag of bucks at the end of his career because of his $9 million deal. And that's at one point you have to say enough is enough and trade the guy before you sign him, because the team that's going to sign him for $9 million is going to give you a load of assets for him.
Well,
Yeah,
but
I'm just going through the
you
defensemen
keep-
here, and as they're talking here, just showing you kind of the points, the penalty minutes, the plus minus, and you saw the chart a little earlier on how much they're making, and some of the guys that weren't in the top 20 are amongst the leaders, like Shea Theodore, like Philip Hronek that Vancouver got. So yeah, continue on there, Finn.
Yeah, I don't know how much the rest of the NHL heard the backlash when Draisaitl signed his $8 million contract for 8 years, or 8.5 or 8 years. But I can tell you about 75-80% of Edmonton fans hated it. They thought he was never going to live up to it. And here we go. What team's not going to take Draisaitl at that dollar figure right now? So you take risks, and sometimes they pan out, sometimes they don't. The issue with Nurse here in Edmonton isn't the play on the ice necessarily; it's the cap hit that goes with it.
But my point is at 9.25, he's condemned to be a 60-point defenseman to make that amount worth it, because he's physical, blah, blah, blah. But defensively, he has not developed. Like Trouba is way ahead of him defensively. And right now, if you give a choice to any GM, who would you rather have on your team? No cap hit. Trouba or Nurse? You're going to have 32 GM, including Holland, say Trouba. Because Nurse has not taken that step. He's 27 now? It's like his development is over. This is who he is. A good NHL player, a good second pair NHL player, but he's not a first pair. He's not in the top 2. Hence, and the old man Fred said it, his value is probably in the 6. If he was in the 6, he would be okay. And I remember before salaries exploded, Patrice Brisebois would get booed by the Montreal fans just because he made $4.5 million. He was the highest paid player on the team. He was effective, but people did not like his contract. He's got 5 points in 16 games. That's crazy for $9.25 million. He's -1. It's like he's not the guy they thought he would become. And when you go at over 10%, and back then it was more than 10% of the cap, I guess, or maybe he signed during the COVID where it's about the same, but you got 12% of your cap hit for one player, you can't make a mistake because that handcuffs you. And then you're going to have to dump assets to get rid of your contract.
Well, it also didn't help that there's 3 other defensemen that offseason too that went at $9 million plus.
Yeah, but that's
it was stupid. It was stupid that summer with defensemen.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to participate.
Oh, yeah.
If they pass around stupid pills, you don't have to take it.
What year did he sign that contract? Was it after the 2021-22 season?
I think so.
I'm gonna go.
So, all right. So there we go. Thanks,
I'll
Frank.
tell you can go to the next topic, and I'll chime in with the answer.
All right. Old man Fred, what do you got for us this week? What do you want to talk
I'm
about?
going to talk global series is what I'm going to talk. So
Oh, that was
I-
my topic too.
Oh, well, there you go. We should have chatted. So I get to go first, so that's good. You know what? I think it's a boon. I think I don't understand the we got three teams that are in the same division and one team that isn't even in the conference. So I don't understand that component, and perhaps I can be enlightened regarding why Minnesota was there. But I watched some of that hockey. I mean, I'm an old retired guy who has that opportunity to watch I watched the first one, the Detroit versus Ottawa, and that was a hell of a game. And it had everything. I've seen the pictures, of course. Toronto fans are all over everything because, hey, Toronto shouldn't play in Toronto. They should play in Sweden. They'd win more. But it was good, and it's good, and I think the players like it. As Nylander said, it's the first time his grandmother got to see him live in an NHL game. There's that kind of thing. You see Nylander with family. He's playing very well right now. Of course, it is a contract year. So I really think it was a huge success. I'd like to see it a little bit. I don't know how I would tweak it, but I might keep it all in division. I might say, okay, the four teams. I like the idea of four teams. I'd want it more. It wasn't a true round robin. I'd like to see it kind of a round robin thing. But you know what? I think it was a success. I applaud the NHL for doing it. There are a lot of Swedish players. I know that their overall goal is to go global. It would be great if they had teams. Now it's a little bit. The problem that they have, of course, is Russia and the political stuff has kind of put a damper on that. But at the same
time, Fred, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
You heard Matthew say he wants to go home for the next global series in Mexico. What do you think about that?
Well, you know what? I don't know. It would be interesting. I mean, where do you go for that, right? Like, I mean, is Australia going to be on if we get some, I don't know, weird Australian guy, is he going to be, he wants to go down to Sydney, mate? I don't know. Why not? You know what? I'm open to anything. I think it's okay. There was a time when we thought any team south of, I don't know, St. Louis was ridiculous. And look how that's changed, and look how they've won Stanley Cups. And tonight I'm watching Florida. That used to be a joke, right? Where 6,000 people would show up or whatever. And yes, I know Arizona is still, to a certain degree, a joke. And it's been accepted. Look at Las Vegas. You can't get a more successful team than Las Vegas.
No, but I agree with the Mexico because Europe is the obvious place because hockey's popular there. But like the NFL, they went overseas and it was not popular. And so you have to go where it's not necessarily popular to grow your fan base. And like if Austin's a local boy, you got Mexican heritage, but you put all the border, like Houston, Arizona, LA, I guess, is the most southern. San Diego Gulls wouldn't qualify. Well, they could pretend to be the Anaheim Ducks. They would play as well. But you put some border teams and do four of those teams with Toronto, and that would grow the visibility, So I agreed with it. I thought it was a good idea. Yeah. But Bettman and Buttman, I should call him because that's always what I always call him. That's too avant-gardiste for him. He's gonna stick with Europe and boring, and it's ridiculous. But anyways, that's my
I have to ask you, Eric. What do you think about the new rule where teams can now play with their opposite color helmet?
Well, okay. I really, you know what? It's so superficial that it doesn't really matter to me. I just looking at that picture, You know what? I never thought, oh, this looks different. Certainly does. You know what? Why not? Why not make it happen? Sure. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I found some of the gimmicky, like the Las Vegas, I think they were doing was it the golden helmet or I don't know, whatever.
They still are. And LA's doing the silver shiny one, and they played each other. So you had a bunch of shiny helmets on the ice. It was freaking crazy.
It can get a bit gimmicky, but whatever. You know what? I'm good with it. It doesn't really bother me. So.
All right. Well, let's jump on to Finn. Finn, you wanted to talk about this as well. So if you don't have a different topic, you can just kind of add on to what old man Fred said about the Summit Series.
I had a backup topic, but with the NHL in Europe, I mean, they have a lot of competition over there. That's a lot of resources going in there to try to beat out the competition to set up a division there one day. So I don't know. There's a lot of hard work. I think Mexico would be a little easier. Maybe not. But it's definitely closer. And I'm sure the players are going to like going to Mexico a little more than traveling across the ocean to go play another NHL team. But I don't know.
All right.
I see what the NHL is trying to do here, but I'm not completely on board with it.
Okay. Well, there are our topics then. And just in time, because we're going to take our last break. We're going to come back with our game of the week. We're going to let you know who predicted last week's game correctly. And we're going to give away our copy of FHM 10. Stay tuned. Back after 2 minutes to wrap up the show. All right, we're back here to end off the show. And again, we'll make our draw for the FHM copy in about 5 minutes. If you want to enter exclamation ticket. This is for a PC version or a Mac version. It will not work on Steam. This is for your PC or Mac. So last chance to get your entry in there. All right. Well, last week, yeah.
All right. Nurse signed his contract in August 2021, effective a year later, starting 2022. 2023 season. That's after he scored 16 goals. So they had, this guy's going to be awesome. 36 points in 56 games. Gave him the boatload of money. So it's 8 years. It's no movement clause. So they can't even cut him to the minors. They can't do anything until after the 2026-2027 season. And for the last 3 years, it's a modified no trade clause. And there's a $6 million signing bonus from 26 for the last 4 years of the contract. So that means the 1st of July, he gets paid. So, and his base salary during the last 3 years is 1.2 mil after that. So, yeah.
He's going to be in Edmonton for a while, is what you're saying.
No choice, because unless he wants to leave, he ain't leaving for 4 more years.
Well, hey, Frank, by the way, congratulations to your Montreal Alouettes, Grey Cup underdog champions. When is the parade in Montreal? Are you going?
Not going. I don't know when it is. I haven't heard any announcement. They just came back today. But they beat best team in the East, best team in the West. That's how you want to win a championship, by beating the best. So, 11 seconds to go. Crazy. Nobody. They won their last 8 games in the season. It's like nobody. If you bet mid-season on the Owls winning the Grey Cup, $100 bet, you could stop working for 6 months.
Are you serious? That's how that was. Wow.
Well, they were under 500 at that point. They weren't that good, man. They won the last 8 games, so they were 3-5 or 3-7, I think, or something. They suck, man. Yes, the French player was legendary, but he backtracked today. He said he was sorry. He goes, but it's like, sorry, I'm not sorry, but I have to say I'm sorry. But they were 3-7, I think, because I think they finished 11-7. I don't follow that close enough. But if they won 8 in a row, they were 3-7, right? So think about that. If you bet on a 3-7 teams to win the Grey Cup, you get big odds, man. That's like 500, 1,000 to 1 odds, man. You make coin, man.
Yeah. And old man Fred, I'm going to ask you quick, since we're talking CFL. I know you're a big CFL fan. Watched the game yesterday, I would imagine. I know it's being shown in America a lot. They're showing the Canadian football with the onside kick. You know, some of the taking advantage of that onside kick rule. Do you like that rule in the CFL?
So the onside kick rule is what are you talking about? You're not talking about the Rouge, are you? What do you mean?
Well, the highlights I see is where, you know, it's like 2nd and 15, and the quarterback throws it to a wide receiver who then kicks the ball so it hits the ground once and then picks it up.
Oh, well, that's pretty rare. Okay, so that happened near the end of the game. Yeah, do I like it? Sure, it's quirky, right? That's why I like the Rouge as well, where, you know, they miss field goal, but it sails through the end zone. You get a point. Yeah, you know what? I think and I'm going to say it because I've been watching a lot of the NFL. The CFL is a better game. It's not better played by better players, but it's a better, more entertaining game. And I really, truly believe that. Now, you'll never convince any of our American cousins that, and that's okay, right? They have their game, and it's a beautiful game too. I love it as well. But I think if I had to choose, you know, and if I could get the NFL guys to play, you know, CFL rules, I think it would be a hell of a thing. But whatever.
Remember when Flutie kicked that ball through the uprights in the NFL. I remember you said, like, what is this guy doing? But he got that from the CFL kind of rules, and he knew that was a rule that never been used. What did he do? He got 3 points? What is this?
Yeah.
So,
And Flutie with I think it was with the Patriots that he scored the drop kick there through the field goal or through the uprights. And I mean, when you play in the NFL and if the winning team has possession with like 2.5 minutes left, they just run the clock down. And to me, that's not an exciting end to a game when you simply run the clock down because you have the lead. Where the CFL, you can't do that as easly, can you, Eric?
Boiled Egg said it best. Out of 60 minutes, you get 17 minutes of action in the NFL.
I mean, you've got to stop. You've got 20 seconds when they whistle it in the CFL. You've got 45 in the NFL. I mean, it's a much slower paced game. It's a more because of that, it's a more calculated game. I think the NFL can be, and that's why you can kill a clock or you can do whatever. And the NFL is still a hell of a game, and I mean, we've seen.
It is a good game, but it could be made much better. Like you finish quarters sometimes with 3 possessions.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and it's like the score is like 10-7 after quarter 1, but there's been 3 possessions. They each scored on their possession, but they chew so much time that in 15 minutes, one team has had the ball once. It's like, they have to speed it up. It's like baseball. Baseball was made so much better this year.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
By speeding up the fucking game that it doesn't take 4.5 hours to play 9 innings. You know, people falling asleep at 1:30 and they're not even in the 10th inning. You know, it's like, no, pitch the fucking ball, you fucking. I can't. I don't want to get in trouble with Glenn again, but it's like, better stay in your box. Like players that got out of the box, rub their hands, rub their bats, rub their helmets. You know, it's like every pitch that would go out, and it's like, oh my freaking Lord, man! It's like, what? Your hands are funny. You just stood like this, took the pitch, and my hands, I gotta fix them again. It's like, give me a break, man.
Hey, Glennie, I thought we weren't doing rants. Are we doing rants?
Frank, the audience is all yours, buddy. You got the whole screen to yourself now.
I know. Well, it just bugs me, but that's the NFL now. And I think everybody would agree because not a lot of people agreed with the rule change in baseball, but everybody I've spoken to says it was so much more fun to watch baseball games because you knew you weren't in a marathon that would last freaking 4 or 5 hours. You know, I loved it. And
Me too.
the purists didn't like it, but man, it made baseball much better. And I know, Glenn, you're a baseball fan. I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah, I like the quicker game too. It's like you said, a 4-hour, 5-hour game, especially if it's going to extra innings. Plus, they have the rules now where, in extra innings, you get a runner on second base to start off, the extra inning to try and
get some. They can do that, but the NFL has to solve their problem of, killing the clock and whatever. It's like it's all like 45 seconds. It's like it's not enough sometimes because these idiots take timeouts because they run out of time to run a play. It's like, come on, are you brain dead? I know CTE is a big thing, but come on, man.
And then they're shaking hands, with a minute and a half left to play and tapping their helmets. It's like they know the game is over. There's nothing they can do. And it's like good money that you pay to go to these games and you don't get a lot of, exciting play. The CFL, believe me, if you've never seen the CFL, Canadian Football League game, I think you might get hooked on the rules and things because it's exciting right up until the last play.
Yeah, it's fast paced because it's 1, 2, 3 out, 1, 2, 3 out, and American goes, "What do you mean 1, 2, 3 out? What's going on?" And because the field is also much wider,
10 yards.
So there's more room for offense, so you don't need 4 downs. And it's like, how did they score 40 points when they only have 3 downs? That's playing football.
All right. Well, let's get on to our game of the week. Last week, it was the Colorado-Dallas game that we put our wagers on. And let's look at.
Oh, somebody had 5-3. I remember a 5-3 for Colorado. No?
Well, the final score was 6-3. And here is what Frank, you went 3-1 Dallas.
I said
you
Dallas.
went 4-2.
Oh, God.
I went
Hey,
2-1
see, I knew
Dallas.
it. Oh, man. I knew there was a 5-3 Avs. So close, man.
All right. Take your bow, old man Fred. You finally get on the scoreboard. Plan the parade, old man Fred.
I'll take it.
After 3 weeks, Finn has 2 right. Lanky, old man, and myself have 1. And GT Sundown was the only brave chatter last week to bet on the Avs. He chose 3-2 for the Avs. So our chat scoreboard at the bottom, Boiled Egg has 1 week win, and GT has 1 week win. I think whoever gets to 10 first of our chatters, I think we're going to give them a prize. Whoever gets the first or up to 10. So keep on playing, guys. Bet your game of the week. Congratulations, old man Fred, on your first victory. It must feel special.
It does. It really does. Yeah.
Okay. Our game.
Well, he won the tournament earlier. Now he won the game of the week. He's on a roll, baby.
He didn't win the tournament, Lanky.
I know he
Frank
won
the
against the Habs. Well, that's like
He
winning
beat
the tournament for the Leafs.
He beat you, which is just as good. Okay, our game of the week. We're going to go to Saturday, and I'm sporting the.
Rangers.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Boston.
One of the best.
Ooh.
One of the best jersey was the Statue of Liberty Ranger one. There we go again. Fussmucker, yes. Fussmucker,
Hey, are we doing the
one.
Rangers logo? Because they've changed their logos a lot of times. I like that
Well,
logo.
we will.
Yeah. Well,
We
Frank,
should do the Rangers soon. Their original six.
and in case it's different in Montreal, N comes after D, like down the list. You notice we've been going through a pattern, right?
I thought we would do the original six first, and then. Okay, we're doing alphabetical. Ugh.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So our game of the week is Saturday. We're going to go to the two of the top 3 teams in the league. And of course, the top 3 teams in the league, if I bring the standings back up, Boston, Vegas, and the Rangers, and then the Canucks. So on Saturday, the New York Rangers host the Boston Bruins. So we got to go and predict that game there. Chat, you do the same. Who is going to win and what is going to be the score? Let's start with, old man Fred's on a roll. So let's start with him.
4-1 Rangers.
Oh, 4-1 Rangers for old man Fred. All right, Finn.
It's a good question. Yeah, we'll go with 3-1 Rangers.
3-1 Rangers. Frank the Tank.
Yeah, by the way, Fussmucker predicted overtimes in a shootout. So if that ever happens, he should get 2 points for the Rangers.
Yeah.
So,
Frank's making the rules tonight.
well, it's a second prediction. Not only the winner, a score in overtime, So, I'm going to go with Boston on the road. 2-1.
You took mine, Frank. All right.
Next time you can talk before me.
I think you guys missed one thing. It's an afternoon game, and Boston has played a lot of afternoon games. They're used to afternoon games. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 Boston score. So 2 of us have Boston, 2 of us have the Rangers.
That's why I picked Boston, because I saw the 11 a.m., which is 1 p.m. So,
yeah. VT Sundowns going 4-2 Boston. Iridescence is going 5-2 for the Bruins. We got 6-1. A lot of Boston love.
A lot of Boston.
We've got Fussmucker
That was nice.
with the shootout. We got Dragon, a Chicago Blackhawk fan. He's going for the Rangers 3-1. And
Leo
we
has
got
to get off the
Dave.
sauce. Leo has to get off the sauce. 6-1. That's a bit extreme.
Hey, that's probably what you would have said with this, Frank. If someone predicted 6-3 Colorado, you probably would have said, hey, you got to get off the pot. It's not going to be that extreme against Dallas. So you never know.
Yeah,
You never know what's going to happen.
One. Oof.
Yeah, well, you're a Montreal Canadian fan. It's understandable why you have that reaction, because your team is not that good.
You see how they came back down to earth? They had 0 wins last week. 0 for 4.
All right. Well, there you go. Okay, guys. I think we just got the draw to do. We're going to make our draw for our FHM copy, and then we'll go around any closing comments. We'll give you 1 minute each. Not a rant, but if you want it to be a rant, it can be a rant. But we'll do our draw for a copy of FHM 10. Here's your 10-second countdown to get entered in. Exclamation enter, exclamation ticket. If you haven't entered already, this is not the Steam version. It is the version for PC or Mac. You have to download the game off the website and then put in the code that I'll give you after the stream. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and good. None of our panel are entered. That's good. It'll go to one of you viewers. Congratulations go to.
And that really upset a lot of the players because there's a way to go about it if you want to be traded.
Click the draw winner.
Hey, you have to answer this. You have to answer this very, very important question by GT.
What's that? Oh,
How many goddamn sweaters do you own? You must have a closet full.
well, let's just say after old man Fred downsized, I own a few more now. Yeah.
Oh,
I've got maybe 30 jerseys. More than I do baseball. All right, congratulations go to Iridescence 93. Iridescence 93, send me a quick whisper on Twitch. Yeah, only 8 people entered, which is it goes to show that either people don't have time or don't want to try and win a free copy of the game, because we had close to 180 people here at one point. But hey, better chance for those people that did enter. And next Monday, a chance to win a copy again. So panel, let's start with the youngest first. Finn, anything to add as we go into week number 9?
No, not really. I mean, I don't nothing specific, nothing that I can talk about in under a minute. I guess I won't be here next week. I'll be in Mexico. So,
well, you're going to try and join us from Mexico. So yeah, we'll see how that works. But on Friday,
not in a Speedo though. Not in a Speedo.
All right. On Thursday, Finn, or Friday, the Edmonton Oilers travel to Washington. Now, you would think that should be a for sure 2 points.
1 p.m. on a Friday? Capitals. Oh my God.
Why did you say that? Washington's one of the better teams in NHL. Have you not been watching?
What year are you in, Frank? What year are you in, Frank?
They're 8-1-1 their last 10 games.
Uh-oh.
8-1-1
overall.
That's 17 points out of 20 in the last 10 games.
Let's see where they are in the conference. Oh, they're number 7. Oh.
Where have you been, man? The last 10 games, they're second in the NHL. Rangers have 19 out of 20 points in the last 10 games. They're 9-0-1, no losses. Washington is 2, Boston is 3. It's not an easy 2 points.
You know, Frank, what about Philadelphia and John Tortorella, huh?
Damn. They've got, 4 or 5 wins in a row?
How about those Flyers, eh?
Yeah, you were 1 year too early, man. It's
Even
the second year
boiled egg,
Tortorella effect.
boiled egg is going with the Caps over the Oilers. So
Well,
he's
I mean, the Oilers were big time favorites across the NHL to start the season, so they should match up nicely with Washington. But how they've been playing lately, I mean, let's chalk it up to being a close one. As long as it's entertaining, I'm fine.
old man Fred. Anything to close off with?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that there's going to be some divine intervention. Being the good Catholic boy that I am, the Oilers got to do something, man. Like, yeah, last week was all about the coach and so on and so forth. I'm getting scared now. I wasn't worried before because it was like, oh, come on, it's pretty early, blah, 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 blah. McDavid, his numbers aren't there. Dreisaitl's numbers aren't there. Edmonton is it's my hometown and all that kind of stuff, but it is a dreaded place to be in January, and it's worse if your hockey team has no chance. And for a decade, they had no chance, and all we looked forward to was the young guns who was coming in. That's all we cared about. God help us. Like, seriously, we need help, and I hope it changes. I really do, because this is awful right now. Watch tonight, and it's not fun. Nobody's having fun here in central Alberta, and Calgary's doing a little bit better, but not much. And that's the only good thing that we have in Edmonton. So there you go.
Well said. They can't fire the coach again this soon. They gotta find some sort of solution. And Lanky Frank the Tank, close us off, buddy. What do you got for us?
If you leave it here, who would have thought that on November 20th, Oilers would be 1 point up on Chicago, but not Chicago outperforming with a total of 21 points.
Yeah.
Everybody would have said, lay off the juice, buddy. Mushrooms are not for you, and that's the reality that we're in. So what I want to talk about is the teams that are outperforming, like Vancouver. Vancouver is the Seattle of this year, because everybody, look at the shooting percentages of the players in Vancouver. They're all approaching 20%. It's crazy. So they're doing what Seattle did, but Seattle was able to do it for the full year, including the playoffs. So hopefully we have an anomaly. There's no return to the mean during the season, and Vancouver can represent, because God knows Alberta's not representing. Ottawa is shitting the bed. We know the Habs suck, and the Leafs are good, but we know they're going to become bad in the playoffs because that's their MO. So it might all – oh, yeah, and Winnipeg, Hellebuck is crazy how clockwork he is. He's 1 year good, 1 year bad. 1 year good, and he was scheduled to be bad this year, and he's not that good. So Winnipeg is doing good despite Hellebuck, but I think all our hopes are going to be in Vancouver that they continue this. They're like, they would, I don't know, they're hotter than a volcano, for God's sakes. It's crazy. Their shooting percentage is near 20% for multiple players. So hopefully they keep it up. And the Habs lost all 4 games last week. The week before, they had 1 point out of possible a 6, so they're crashing back down to earth. Everybody's pissed off because we're in the bottom 10, but when we started the year, everybody expected us to be in the bottom 10, but we had such a good start. It doesn't take much for Montreal to hope. So, but like, we're back down to earth. So, and the last point is, what a mistake for Toronto not to have locked up to Nylander for what he wanted, because this guy is going to make, with the cap going up next year, he's going to make $11 million easy, and it won't be in Toronto. So this management of assets I keep talking about, well, Toronto will lose Nylander for maybe negotiation rights. So a third rounder or whatever in June before the draft to allow that team to negotiate. But this guy, man, he went to the next level of levels. It's crazy. And he's playing himself out of Toronto. And again, would I sign him for 11 mil? I'll do the same exercise with goalies and forwards that I did with defensemen in the next couple of weeks. I think it's fun. And goalies, it's going to be – I'm going to just do the top 10 because there's not enough of them. But, yeah, would I sign him for 11 million? No, because I think he relies – he's not like Pasternak, like a game changer, like Jack Hughes, etc. But somebody's going to give him 11 plus. So enjoy Nylander fans, Eric. Enjoy him this year because that's the last you're going to see of him.
Yeah, I'm prepared.
All right, and after 17 games, who would have thought that 4 Vancouver Canucks would have more points than either Draisaitl and McDavid?
Crazy.
It's been a crazy start to the season. Well, panel, thank you so much again for coming on this week. We'll see you next Monday again at 9:30 Eastern. Chat, thank you guys. You guys make this so fun, feeding off your comments, checking out your comments, your predictions. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the comments. And we will see you next Monday night.
I won't.
Frank, wave. Frank, there we go. What's this, Frank? What's this? What are you,
He's
in
a
the game or
gangster.
something?
He's gangsta.
I've been doing this since the beginning.
Southside
I've been
Metro.
doing this since the beginning. You just noticed now?
Yes, I've got many tasks here as producer and host of the show, Frank.
Oh my God.
All right. We'll see you
This
guys
is
next week.
gangsta. I only did one.
Oh, okay. Well, we can't see you now, Frank, anyway. See you guys.
Too late. I'll do it next week. Next week.
Bye.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in. All right. Check you next week.
This is
These are the after show bloopers. We're just gonna go and we're gonna go like this, and we're gonna put Frank at the top here, and we're just gonna close out the show with Frank on the message here. Okay, let's take that off. Let's put this on here, and we'll close with you, Frank, because we're on a break, and I think most of the chat didn't see the goodbye. So let's wait 50 seconds, and you can do your gangster talk again. Do you know Snoop Dogg? Frank?
They didn't see anything. They didn't see any of the. This
Well,
is
they'll
what I
have to
did.
watch the-
This is gangsta. So as long as I don't do this,
you can.
I'm not gangsta.
All right, for those of you coming back in from the break, you missed our closing. We said goodbye just as the break kicked in. Frank did some sort of gangster stuff, and you missed all the fun. So you have to catch the VOD and watch the last couple minutes because Frank was on fire, as always. Literally on fire. All right. See you next week, gang.